Hi, I'm Dee Mangum, and I want to take a minute and talk about resources that are available to you when you make a study of the Tao, of Zen, and of Buddhism. And it's kind of a funny subject because there's lots of information out there, and yet it's kind of hard to make heads or tails of it. And so I just want to share what my path has been, and maybe there's some information that will be of use to you. So I have loved Zen concepts for decades, but never made any more of a serious study of it other than to seek out books that say Zen teachings, Zen sayings especially. And in the age of the internet, I've loved memes about Zen philosophy. I think, without any interest in studying Eastern philosophies or Eastern forms of, Eastern philosophies and religions, the first real serious book with the word Zen in the title I ever read was Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig. And I love that book, and I always tell people, if you want to understand more about who I am, read that book. And that book is wonderful. It's not really about Zen philosophy. It's just about a wonderful man, it's a true story, who, after suffering some severe mental illness, decides to buy a motorcycle and ride it with his son and a neighbor from Chicago to San Francisco. And it's just a used motorcycle, and he tries to have it worked on and repaired by a local motorcycle shop, and they make it worse. And so it occurs to him that he can, even from the library, get books on motorcycle maintenance and learn everything he could learn about fixing and repairing and maintaining this motorcycle that he had purchased. And in knowing the motorcycle this intimately, his joy in riding it was increased exponentially. And he explains that throughout the book and how it applies to other areas of his life and in self-discovery, what the book is about. And there's just one part I wanted to share that I love that is very, very much like all of this philosophy. His neighbor buys a brand new motorcycle, BMW, off the showroom floor. And so Robert has his used motorcycle, the neighbor has the brand new motorcycle, and they're going to make this trip to San Francisco. Well, before they leave, the neighbor comes over to Robert's garage and he says, I have a problem with my brand new motorcycle. The handlebars slip. And so the handlebars sit on most motorcycles in a C-clamp, so it's got the bar, and then there's these clamps that hang on to that bar. And he said, well, mine are slipping, and the handlebars wiggle back and forth. So what can I do about that? And Robert says, oh, yeah, well, that's an easy motorcycle fix. What you do is you put a shim on it. And the neighbor says, well, I'm not sure. I don't even understand what a shim is. He says, it's really easy. It's some kind of a piece of metal that won't oxidize, won't rust. And you wrap that around the handlebars and then put it back in the C-clamp, making the handlebar just a little bit thicker in diameter, and the clamp holds it a little tighter. And the neighbor says, oh, wow, okay, that's a good idea. Where can we get one of those? He says, well, I happen to have one right here. And the neighbor says, great. And so Robert picks up an aluminum beer can and a pair of tin snips and starts snipping out a rectangular piece of metal. And the neighbor says, whoa, 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 wait a minute. He says, what's the problem? He says, you're going to cut a piece of beer can and put it in my... No. This is a brand new motorcycle. He says, yeah, but the aluminum from the beer can will fix your handlebars. I'll put it around the handlebars and the C-clamp will hold it tighter. He says, No. I don't want that. It's a brand new motorcycle. I don't want a piece of beer can holding my handlebars tight. So Robert says, well, okay. And he says that the neighbor complains the entire trip because his handlebars are slipping. And that probably if he would have not shown the neighbor the beer can and said that it was a BMW part that he had ordered from Germany, the neighbor would have loved it. Said, oh, yeah, let's put that on. So that Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance got me thinking about that. And in the meantime, I would go to the library, I would go to the bookstores, anything that had Zen in the title. I loved the philosophies taught in Zen sayings. Now, Zen sayings are not Zen, they're not Buddhism, they're not Taoism. But I love that kind of thing. So now in the internet, you have access to just search YouTube. That's what I search mostly, and Google and anything else, anything to do with Zen, Buddhism, Taoism, and you're going to find myriad of resources. My recommendation is Alan Watts, which is he was an interesting man, and you can learn about him and judge him. And yet what he says, there are amazing videos, recordings of his teachings that are pretty deep. And Wayne Dyer has some great work that he does that you can find on the internet about Taoism and Buddhism. Other than that, there are some wonderful gurus and teachers, Eastern teachers, many of them that are quite famous, and they'll teach you wonderful things about Buddhism and Taoism and Zen. I'm just starting this path, so I don't know. But one thing I do know that Taoism and Buddhism, they're not the same thing. There are some similar teachings, but it's not the same thing. It's not. They're not used interchangeably. They're not used in conjunction with each other. But they're both Eastern philosophies that I love. But you can learn about that on the internet. It's just a wealth of information out there about both subjects. Now, what got me... I want to mention this. For Buddhism, it's not so much the case for Taoism, but for Buddhism, most of you will find a local Buddhist temple or meetup or gathering, spiritual gathering of Buddhists, and I say go investigate. It's always full of wonderful, welcoming people, and you can learn how Buddhists structure their worship service, because Buddhism is more of a structured religion. And I went to here in my local city, the Buddhist temple, and on a Sunday morning when they held their services, and loved it. Had a wonderful experience visiting with local Buddhists. That's another thing I would suggest to do. Now, this past Christmas, what has really got me started, and what made me decide to take the things that I've learned over the last 30 years about my feelings about Zen and Buddhism, was that my son gave me for Christmas a copy of the Tao Te Ching, and I read it and reread it and reread it, and I love this book. It really captures the simplicity and the depth of these teachings, and it's become a part of my life. I love it. I love the Tao Te Ching. Simple to get, inexpensive to buy. It's even available online. Get a hold of the Tao Te Ching and read it all the time. And so then what I'm doing now, my path now, is to take these resources, study them every day, share them when I can, seek out teachers, and try to be conscious and aware in my daily life of things in my life that are in harmony with these philosophies and things that are not in harmony with these philosophies. To the very most simple things that I do, my diet, my entertainment, my work, my relationships with my family and friends, I look at all of it through this looking glass of these philosophies. And I am honest. I try to be as honest as I can. If I disagree, I think about and write about the ways that I disagree with what I read and learn. For now, because I found that I'm evolving and learning. I may disagree today and understand tomorrow. But I look at everything I'm learning, I see how it applies to my daily life, I find out if I agree or disagree, if I want to explore deeper, if I want to make more effort to apply. This is my path and what I'm doing. And I'm looking in bookstores and libraries constantly for videos and books, because I want to read and find out what other people have to say. But at the same time, I'm finding peace in asking myself, what is it that I think? What do I think about Taoism and Buddhism and Zen? How has it affected me? And what's my own opinion? Not that I think I should share it or that other people should follow it. I just want to know what I think and not what I've been told, because I'm not a joiner. I want to know what I think about things. I don't want to just sit back passively and say, well, this is what I've been told to think. This is what I've been told to believe. I want to honestly look at what I think and what I believe, and that's what you'll find in these videos. And that's the resources, those are the resources I've been using and what I would recommend if you want to follow a path again to apply Buddhism, Taoism, Zen to your life. And it's not a replacement for whatever religion or lack of religion that's in your life now. Taoism, it can be applied to your life with zero spiritual belief in any kind of an afterlife or God, and it doesn't replace if you're Catholic or Jewish or Mormon or Baptist. It doesn't replace your belief system. It's a very enhancing philosophy that I recommend with all my heart.